Hello there. You're welcome again to Life and Relationship Realities with Tolu Alabi. This is another beautiful day. This is a beautiful season. Wherever you're watching from today, it's beautiful. And like I always say, no matter what you're going through right now, you're probably not the only one going through it. There will be millions of people out there going through the same thing, and you can still choose to rejoice even in the midst of that crisis. I pray that the Lord give you whatever miracle that you need at this particular season and time of your life in the name of Jesus. And so today I want to talk about intimacy in relationship. Usually when people say intimacy, or we hear the word intimacy in relationship, in marriage, everybody's thinking, yes, sex, let's talk about it, and so on like that. And even in my experience with counseling, when I ask people, how is the intimacy, when I ask a couple, how is the intimacy in your relationship? How's that intimacy going in your relationship? And then some people are like, oh, the wife can say something like, oh, he's too demanding for sex. And the husband may say things like, oh, she's not sensitive to my sexual urges and so on like that. But is intimacy really all about sex? No. This, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking about intimacy in relationship in different dimensions. Whatever God does, He creates, is concerned about the spirit, the soul, and the body. And so the body is the sex part. So that's even the far end of intimacy in a way. And so we're going to start from what intimacy is about. We're going to be touching all the three at different times anyway. But today I want us to talk about, to have a foundation about what intimacy is about, why it's important for us to have the intimacy that we're going to be talking about, and what benefits, do we derive from intimacy, and probably talk about things that makes intimacy difficult in relationship. I share with us an event that happened, not a story, an event that happened some years back, that they were having there was gathering. I don't want to mention the denomination, the church, but there was that gathering, and then the wives, this particular man approached another woman that is more like a mother in the Lord, and told her that the wife's bra was showing on the cloth. He wanted the other woman to help with the wife to adjust the bra. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Is it that he's never touched that before? Or because people are watching and he feels that they shouldn't show such emotion? Whatever it is connected to the intimacy that I'm talking about today. Intimacy in the relationship. Maybe you are that person out there too, and you don't feel that it's open up. Public affection is very important. Depends on your partner. If your partner likes it, there's nothing wrong. Yes, I'm a pastor. There is nothing wrong about that. God does not hide his love for us. He said, with everlasting love, I've loved you. I mean, when I read in the Bible about places that God is talking about his love for us, it's kind of romantic. It's just outstanding. It's show of his love for us, even physically, openly, and so it's part of the things we're going to be talking about. Intimacy. So let's start. What is intimacy? Intimacy is a relationship. It's a feeling of emotional connection. That you are intimate with someone in a relationship means that you are connected. Like when people talk about heartbeat, connecting and doing the being together, all of those things. So is that emotional connection? People talk about, oh, is it things all about emotion? Yes. Then if you can't talk about intimacy and relationship without talking about the emotional side of it, people said, oh, what if you're in a relationship or you're married and you don't have the emotional part of it? That's why you have to constantly build it. Emotion is not the basis of relationship, or should not be the foundation of your relationship, but it's very important. It's like the juice. Like somebody have a juice, or somebody have the, like you're eating food, the most delicious part of that food. Like I used to like to eat bones, that those things that come out of the bones, and that's the most interesting part of it. So that's what emotion is in the relationship. It's like the butter on the bread, is like the icing on the cake. And if you're a vegetarian, you don't want all those things, well, it's whatever you put in your salad that makes it interesting, that makes it more delicious. That's the thing that we're talking about. That's what emotion is. So the connection, the emotional connection, is very important in relationship. It's like the lotion on your dry skin. That's how emotion is in a relationship. Is needed. Sometimes it goes away, you can't find it, stress, family and so on like that. So you need to build things back. Always build that emotions back into the relationship. Intimacy is where you look at yourself, and then you can see the stars in both of your eyes. It's not that the stars have to be there all the time, but you just know that is that thing. And then even if you're not seeing stars, you're seeing that assurance, you're seeing that maturity, you're seeing that connection between both of you. And so intimacy is the sharing of thoughts and feelings, that you can share your thoughts together, you can share your feelings. It's not only sharing your feelings, but sharing your thoughts is about understanding one another. It's about that oneness. It's about that place where you can tell your partner, oh, I got you, and your partner too got you, that place of understanding between both of you, that place that sometimes you sit down together, nobody is even touching anybody, but you're sitting down together and you feel that closeness. There's just that thing, like, this is mine, this wife is mine, this my husband is mine. That sense of closeness, that sense of togetherness, that sense of bonding is what intimacy is about. What does sex and other things do? They help to build those intimacy. Because sex on its own is nothing. You can, if husband and wife, I've counseled a lot of people, husband and wife have sex and there's no intimacy with it. They just, there's nothing. And everybody goes their own way, and everybody can even sleep after the sex, somebody turning this way and the other person turning that way. That can happen. But intimacy is that proper bonding that you need in your relationship to be beautiful. If you look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 and 25, it's very important. After like I said, the marriage in Canaan, like somebody has said before, and I said it here, somebody said, that marriage and wedding thing is not anything, the father just give the mother, oh no, marriage is there in the Bible. There is marriage, there is the wedding, there is the ceremony of the wedding. The Bible talks about even the bride, we being who is our groom, we are his bride. We're gonna have a ceremony of wedding, so there's nothing wrong with it. In the garden, I'm sure it was the animals that were there, because there were no human beings, and God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit was definitely there when there was this union between Adam and Eve, the first man and the first woman. And so verse 24 said, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and shall be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. The Bible said, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. They were not naked first. It said they will become one flesh first. They will become one first. They will be joined first. That's intimacy, that oneness between husband and wife. That's why sometimes when there is no oneness between husband and wife, children can have their way through a whole lot of things, because he can go to mommy and say this, and then he will go to daddy separately and say this. That's why it's important for couples to be connected, to have a form of intimacy. And I want to quickly put out something. Intimacy is not only like when you're there. There are people that are miles, thousands of miles away, but their intimacy is stronger than people that are physically present together. I talk about connection. I talk about emotion. That's why I said the physical thing is the last one. I talk about the sharing of thoughts, sharing of feelings. I know you can be miles, thousands of miles away, but you constantly communicating. The person knows where you are. They can vouch for you and say, "Oh, I know my wife will be doing this. I know my husband will be doing that." Intimacy. That's a loving relationship. That's the kind of relationship that we should have. A few days ago, I went to the store. I think it was last Friday. I went to the store and I parked my car and I was heading towards the store, and I saw this couple. The man should either be in his 90s or in his late 80s. And he had all the bags, and the wife was coming beside him. The wife didn't carry anything apart from her purse. And I saw the man carrying all the things and everything like that, and both of them were laughing and talking, and I was just looking at this couple. Eventually, because I turned, I wanted to see how it was all going to play out, and I turned to look at them, because we had said hello to one another and they passed by. So I saw the wife went in, opened the car, opened the trunk for the husband, and the husband was putting those things. And the man even went to the side and still opened the door for the wife to get into the car, and he closed the car while he turned around to go to the driving spot and driving seat and drove the car. By the time they were reversing, I told myself this was enough for me to watch in a day. But that is it. There's a woman that lived by my neighbor, my former neighbor. They've moved to another state now. I mean, the wife was going to celebrate their 90-year birthday that year, December. So you can imagine how old the husband must be. And the husband got sick. He was admitted. I think he fell. They went to their children for Thanksgiving in that November, and the husband fell and was taken to the hospital, and the case was bad. And the woman saw me, and he said, "Please come." And I went to her, and he said, "I know you're a pastor." I said, "Can you please pray for my husband?" And he said, "This happened to him, this happened to him." And I said, "Okay, we're going to pray. We're going to pray now for a miracle." And we prayed. I prayed with her, held her hand and prayed. And after I prayed, and she looked at me with her teary eyes, and she said, "Thank you so much. Thank you." She said, "I believe in this prayer, and I believe there's going to be a miracle, because medically the report is now good." He said, and she said to me, she said, "I cannot afford to lose him. He's my friend." And and tears were, and I was like, oh my goodness, in people's 90s, they are disconnected. And she could call her husband her friend. And that was her only close friends. So I want to say that is what I mean by bonding. That is what I'm talking about with intimacy between a man and a woman, a relationship in marriage. And so that's the kind of bonding that God wants us to have, that closeness. That closeness. And the closeness help us to live in a transparent life. Look at that Genesis chapter 12, Genesis chapter 2, verse 25. The Bible said, and they were both naked and they were not ashamed. So it was not just naked having sex. It's also taken about the nakedness of their hearts to one another, the openness of their heart, the sincerity in their hearts for one another. That's the intimacy that helps to build a relationship. I've had all kind of things. Maybe you're wondering, oh, what if the woman is not sincere or other? Those things are what we're going to talk about shortly. So why is intimacy important? Because that's what builds the relationship. You know, it's like when you're building houses that are different countries use different method or use different materials to build houses. But like if I'm talking about Nigeria first, you're talking about cement, you're talking about building blocks or building bricks. If you're using blocks or bricks to build a house, I've been privileged to see that several times where you're putting them on each other. If you're using blocks, that's what you made with cement. You make cement, sand, and water together like a paste. And you, after you put a block, you put that paste on it, and then you put another block on it. And that's what binds the two blocks together. That what cements them together, that makes them hold firm. That's what we're talking about. Intimacy is that thing that binds two people together, that bonds them together, that people get bonded together, that at a point you don't even see where they start or where that ends anymore. It's possible. That kind of relationship is possible. The thing about relationship is that you don't arrive there one day. Sometimes you start well with that, but then things just happen. The Bible talks about a man that sowed good wheat, and then in the night, the devil went and sowed tares. So it's going to happen in relationship. You're going to have that thing where you're starting with all the excitement and so on like that. And the intimacy is there, the bonding is there. You're talking for 2 hours, you're talking for 5 hours on the phone, not minding the phone bill, you know. But then it gets to a point when you get into marriage when things, other issues come up. That's when you have to start building intentionally. I was teaching my son how to drive. So I taught him, and I told him, I said, when you're driving, there are certain road that is slopey. When a road is slopey, you know, you don't need to press much on accelerator. The law of gravity just takes the car down. I say you need to be watching at that point. You need, especially when it's really sharp, slow, you need to be getting closer to your brakes at that particular time, you know, so that you can start pressing gradually, especially now that you're learning how to drive. I say then when you get to a point after the slope, sometimes there is a uphill that the car goes, then you press more accelerator for the car to be able to go uphill. That's how it is in relationship. When you're still dating and engagement and beautiful relationship, you know, it's more like a slopey, even though it looks like you're going on a big mountain, you know, but the truth is, it's still is more like that slopey thing. It doesn't look like it looks like you're going out. But when you get into marriage, then you need to start making extra effort to maintain this intimacy or build the intimacy at any point when it's broken. So it builds our relationship. Intimacy builds a relationship, makes it beautiful, make you understand one another, make you enjoy one another, make you feel happy with one another. When couples are having problems, the first thing that is broken is intimacy. And I want to quickly put out something here. Intimacy is not what one person built. Both of you have to build it. There's the part of the woman, there's the part of the man. However, my husband always says something. He said, he has not seen she-goat going after he-goat. It's always the other way around. So a man has more to do in intimacy, in relationship. After all, the Bible says, why submit to your own husband? Submit to what the man is bringing, submit to the effort the man is making, submit to the intimacy that the man is building. So a man goes after a woman. And it should happen too, even in marriage. And a woman also responds well and not feel like, oh, because this person is coming after me, oh yeah, so I'm gonna take my time. No, you should be able to respect the effort that the other person is making and respond to it. And so that doesn't mean that a woman too does not build intimacy. I've talked about it sometimes. A woman should surprise her husband. A woman should say loving thing. A woman should approach her husband and go kiss. It doesn't have to be the man coming after you to come kiss. And even in sex, when I've talked about it, there's nothing wrong in a woman making an effort. Also, it does not make you like like a wayward woman or something. No, it's love. It's both of you working at it together. You know, so you should be able, except if the man feel otherwise, then the woman shouldn't do that. You need to understand a woman can do that, and the man can say, oh, what kind of woman am I? So if that happens, then don't be offended. You have to keep trying things to work out in your relationship. If that doesn't work, then leave that and do something else. Maybe if you don't approach physically, you can have a way to ginger the thing, but we're not talking about that today. So oneness, it also builds oneness between both of you. It brings trust, when you're both connected in your thoughts and in your feelings, and there's no hiding, there's no cockroach in anybody's cupboard, it brings oneness, it builds trust. When you trust one another, I always say, trust is the lifeline of every beautiful relationship. When trust is broken, the relationship is almost as good as broken. The fact that you're still living together as husband and wife does not mean that your relationship is not broken. Trust is very important. We are not perfect, so once in a while things are going to happen, but you can quickly build back on trust. So understanding, when you're bonded, when you're intimate, then you begin to understand the other person well. You begin to understand, no matter how much in premarital counseling we talk about love languages and you understand yourself. But when you grow, as you're growing, things are going to evolve in your life. What you used to do, you may not be doing it. When a woman is pregnant, sometimes you can as well just throw out love language because she wants different things at different times. So if our love language is the man saying beautiful words and so on like that, when she's pregnant and her emotions, her hormones are running wild, probably she doesn't want you to say those things. She probably just wants act of service at that particular time. Just rub my leg or just do something. And sometimes if our love language is act of service and you feel like, yeah, I want to rub your leg and so on like that, our emotions, the hormones may not accommodate that at that particular time, So, but intimacy helps you to understand the different stages that you're going through. Maybe your husband is a businessman and business are not doing well, or something is failing, or a project just failed, or something like that. Intimacy helps you to understand. You even know some people have failed. I've counseled couple that the husband lost his job. And for almost 2 months, the wife did not have the idea that the husband lost his job because he would still wake up in the morning, dress up and go out because he didn't know how to present that to his wife. But a couple that is intimate, the wife will know the signal. You just know something is wrong, something is off, when you're intimate. So it builds your understanding for one another. Then it also builds friendship. Intimate people laugh a lot. One of the things next week we're going to be talking about intimate in your soul. The laughter is very good. I've seen marriages where I used to know a family. The wife is very dear to my heart. And the husband, oh my goodness, you just like is almost like a general in the military. He's just like he's in the war front. His eyes were always hard to nobody could even say anything. So that's not a good relationship. Intimacy helps you to have good laugh. And you know, when you laugh very well, it helps your life. It helps your mental health. It helps your heart to beat well. It helps you in every way. Good. The Bible talks about a merry heart. It doeth good to the heart. It's better than medicine when you have good laughter. So intimacy, good intimacy, when you build intimacy in your relationship, it's going to make you have laugh well, you know, like when that woman is saying the jokes, and the jokes are not funny, but the husband have to laugh so that he doesn't get into trouble. You know, it just build marriage. When intimacy bring about good romance, and that's what you need. You need that in your marriage, you know, be able to hold hands with one another, be able, even when you're not doing anything, you know, like not doing anything seriously, you know, but you have that bonding. You have that bonding. It's at that time that sex makes sense in a marriage. That's when it does make sense. You know, because you're bonded, and from that, and people that build intimacy, it's going to be so difficult for you to say, oh, my wife is not responding to sex. No. Women actually love intimacy. Men too love intimacy, but our love language differs. So what helps a man, a woman may be that, okay, yeah, I love my husband to touch me. I love my husband to surprise me. Some people don't like such surprise. So you have to find what helps your husband so that the intimacy can be connected, can be established. It also helps you to overcome challenges. When couples that are intimate, when couples are intimate, fully intimate, they're able to pray together. The Bible says one will pull down 1,000, two will pull down 10,000. But the truth is only two that are connected that can pull down 10,000. It's not just two. It's not just random two. Wife is there, husband is there, and then you just feel that you are pulling 2,000. No, the power, the unity, the force of the intimacy is what gives the spiritual strength for you to be able to conquer 10,000. You can achieve a lot. You can talk to one another. Couples can be at home on the same bed and still not have idea of what is happening in each other's lives. When you build intimacy, things can work. You can overcome challenges. You become, the Bible says, when one falls, the other person can lift up the other person. That's why the Bible talks about marrying someone that you know the same God. When you call Jesus Lord, the person is also calling Jesus Lord. When you call God Father, the person is also calling God Father, because if there's no spiritual connection also, it can become a problem, especially if God matters to you, if your faith matters to you. And then you become an example, you become a role model. When husband and wife are bonded together, the children are learning, they're seeing that. They see the affection that daddy is showing to mommy, mommy is showing to daddy. It's actually said, they said, if you want your children to love you, love their mother. When they see you love their mother, show affection to their mother, they will love you. When children see that, that is the reason why mommy is always crying. That is the reason why mommy is always frowning. That is the reason why mommy is always in pain. Those things stays in children. I've had to talk to a lot of young people that are either bitter about their mom or bitter about their dad because of what that person is doing to the partner, you know. And so you find a family where there's bonding, there's intimacy. The joy rubs on the children as well. The children will do well. The children will do well. So I can go on and on and on and talk about why intimacy is important. Intimacy is important in marriage. We need to build that intimacy. How do you build it? It's a simple thing. Start doing the things that can build intimacy. If you try this, if it doesn't work, do another one. Maybe you want to wake up in the morning and kiss one another. Maybe you want to wake up in the morning and hug one another. You can start by talking about it. Sit down with your partner and talk about it. I know some people are like, you don't know my partner. She does not understand intimacy at all. Sometimes let them listen to messages that can help to build their heart, to remove things in life. You have to unlearn to learn, those things. But we're going to talk about quickly hindrances to intimacy. Religion is my first point. I say religion, not faith or religion. Sometimes religion puts some barrier and make intimacy in relationship looks like sin. I believe sex should be in marriage. That's my belief, because that's what the word of God said. I tried it. It wasn't easy, but it happened. And I thank God that I did that. But whether you believe, whether you do before or do after, whatever it is you want to believe to do, I'm going to talk about marriage now. Some people have gotten into marriage and even the wife is not responding to the husband with sex. I've talked before about a couple that will, after sex, they'll quickly kneel down and be asking God to forgive them their sins. Seriously, the devil didn't create sex. God did. And so it is not a sin. That's that's the beauty of marriage. That's that beauty. Those are the benefits of marriage. Those beautiful things that you get in being married. One of them is sex, good one. And so religion makes intimacy. When husband and wife sit together, it feels like, oh no, we shouldn't. And then our children are there. No, let your children see your emotions. It builds, I'm not talking about, like some things they can't see, but the ones they can see, fine. Let them see that mommy cares for daddy and daddy cares for mommy. So don't let religion build you. When I get to churches, I'm always watching couples that sit together. And I'm always so excited about those couples that sit together, because they're teaching the young people that marriage is good, marriage is beautiful. So you want to sit together, start with that. In church, not that somebody sit there. I remember I went for one of my daughter and son's wedding. They had it in their church and we went to pray. All the pastors went to pray, and then they told me, they said, your husband cannot sit with you on the platform. There's no space. He had to sit in the congregation. I'd say, you know what? Let me go sit in the congregation with my husband. There's no point dividing. If there's no, I said, I have a ministry, people will invite guest speaker. We create even guest speaker. Usually we know if they're coming with their spouses or not. Even the couple that will indicate that I'm not coming with my spouse. And then we see one of them, like sometimes a woman just decides to say, that meeting you are going, I want to go with you, and when we see them coming, we create emergency seat. Start sitting down together, talk together, chat together, laugh together. So religion shouldn't keep two people apart. If God brought two people together, the Bible says, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. If God himself brought two people together, why would the spirit of religion separate people? It shouldn't. Don't feel that a woman, you are inside the church, a wife cannot give her husband a peck on the cheeks, or the husband does the same. A wife can hold the husband even in church. God is not mad. You think at home, your home is not a holy place? Remember what Jesus said to that woman at the gate at the well of Samaria. Jesus said that the woman said, oh, our fathers worship in Jerusalem, and so on, so on. Jesus said, no. The New Testament saints, it's not about going to Jerusalem or going to Judea or going to anywhere. It said they that will worship God, they will worship God in truth and in spirit. So even in that your house, even in that your bedroom that you and your husband, you are having sex, the presence of God is still there. Husband and wife, the presence of God is still there. So don't feel that is in church, even though you can't do that in church, obviously. you know, but you can show affection to one another, even in church. And when we're counseling, doing premarital counseling, please, pastors, let's put the sex in it. It should be part of premarital counseling. You can move it towards when maybe the week of the wedding or something. So if you don't want to create a confusion or anything, you can do that. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. If you're talking about premarital counseling, let's talk about it. Talk about one to one another. I do that premarital counseling. Culture and tradition is another thing. It's good if you want to call your husband Baba Nkechi or Baba Ade or Baba James. I don't think that that's the word to use. I think it's good to use romantic word for one another. You can even call each other by your name if you don't have a romantic word, But whichever word you call, see your partner, your spouse as your partner. That's when you begin to look at the husband as the king of the dynasty and the wife as the subject, it becomes a problem. When the husband takes the position of the pilot that it should be, and the wife is not a co-pilot, but rather a passenger, then there cannot be bonding. The Bible talks about equal yoke. Those animals that are used for equal yoke in farming in those days, they have the same height, they have the same stature, so that they can be together, your partners. Culture will tell you, oh no, the fact that your partner does not mean a woman does not respect her husband or submit. No, you can still do that. But there's no how that you can be intimate together if you don't see yourself as partners. So culture can stop people, what they saw their parent doing. Some people, you can have 2 rooms if that's the way you want to work your marriage. I've seen couples with 2 rooms and they say, no matter what, we have to sleep on one bed each night. It has to be one bed. So if you feel like you want to have the 2 room but have one bed. One bed is usually advisable for couple, but for so many other reasons, if you want to have that. But even at that, don't have the 2 rooms because we cannot be in the same together. That's not right. That's not right. You have to bond together physically, emotionally, psychologically, bonding together. That's when you become one. Like Bible said in Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, you become one. Another thing that makes bonding difficult is character. Some people are as stubborn as what? Some people have pride as what? I've counseled people where the man feels like he cannot be together with the wife. The wife is under him. I've gone for a wedding ceremony. It was my daughter in the Lord that got married and happened to be my staff at that particular time too. And they got married, and the person he got married to, we were all seated there as ministers. Then the bishop in court that joined the wedding said something, and he said, women are under men, and he lifted his leg and marched on the ground like you march a woman down like that. And I was like, oh my goodness. In a wedding ceremony. And after, of course, we got married, it was a different state. So I traveled, and he came to see me. Both of them came to see me on the night after the wedding to say thank you in the hotel where I was. And I told the husband, and I said, be careful what you heard. Your wife is not under your feet. Your wife was taking your rib beside you, close to your heart, not under your feet. The bone were not taken from your feet. So you can't match a woman. If you want to prosper as a man, treat your wife well. And a woman too that wants to prosper will respect your husband at the same time. So the bone was not taken from our feet, from his feet. God removed the rib of Adam the side, a place that is close to his heart. That's how your partner is. So don't let pride make you feel like that you cannot be. It stops people. Stubbornness from a woman that is just stubborn. Nobody can talk to you. You can't be respectful. You can't be, that is not of God. And then wrong heart. When the heart is wrong, it becomes difficult. When a man has a wife that he needs to be intimate with, but his eyes are going all around other people's field, like David, going out into the balcony and seeing another person's bathroom. When that person's eye is like that, it becomes difficult for you to be intimate with your wife. Some people, their wrong heart is not, their lust is not for another woman. Their lust is for money. The way some people go after money as if, and that's why people that rush after money like that, money keep running away from them. When you're not doing what you're supposed to do for your family, it becomes difficult for you to receive the blessings that you need in that work, in that business, in that project. And so you're running helter-skelter to pursue, but you're not meeting, because what you're supposed to do here that brings blessings, you are not paying attention to it. So you need to watch it. Another thing that that causes hindrance to intimacy is lack of exposure. Some women, the man even just want to touch. Let's just hold her. She said, oh, no, I don't want sex. I don't. No. You need to build lack of exposure. Some people don't even think they know the reason for marriage. Some women just think that, oh yeah, I'm going to marry my husband and then I'm going to have children and then we'll start having family, we'll start having children. That's all. But that's not it. The marriage is there, the family is there. So you build the marriage first and then you work on the family. When a marriage is properly built, building and raising children become very easy because you're doing it together. You're doing it together. When you're intimate with one another, you're able to change things. When this does not make this person happy, you want to work on it. Because intimacy brings joy, it brings happiness, it brings excitement into the relationship. As long as you also understand each other's language and you're doing what that other person likes. I always say something. If my husband say, I love you to me, then he should do what makes me happy, not what he thinks makes me happy or what he wants to do. If I say I love my husband, I have to do what makes him happy, not what I think I should do. As long as what makes you happy does not bring sin and does not make my values go down, then that becomes a problem. Because I've had situations, I've had to talk to women and men where the husband wants some kind of sexual activity because he got hooked on pornography and looking at those women that are on drugs, those women that are on alcohol, those women that don't have any sense of value, and wanting the wife to behave like that. No, that is not what you demand of another person. But what am I saying? Intimacy. We can build our intimacy and let our marriages be more beautiful. So start to work on it. Little things that you do at a time sometimes can matter than the greater things you are waiting to do. Being spontaneous to do things for one another is beautiful. Than waiting that, oh, I'm planning this big thing. No, do the small thing today. Bring the excitement today. And I pray God help your relationship, help your marriage, communicate with one another. It helps intimacy, love on one another, write love messages, send text messages, surprise a person, and let love reign in marriages, in families, in relationships. Next week is going to be another powerful one. We're going to be talking about the soul, the bonding of the soul, and so on, how we can really get that emotional intimacy. Get it on fire, and it's a good fire that will burn, and then you can be. And for people that are going through stress in marriage, a husband is not loving, talk more of intimacy, the wife is refusing to respond to love, we're still going to talk about it. I know what it is when you want to do something and your partner does not want to do it. It can be frustrating. I've counseled a lot of people, I've seen a lot of things, but I want to say to you, keep your heart open and keep your heart at peace. Even if you don't enjoy it today, let God see your heart. In due time, you will have the joy that you desire. You will have the joy that you desire in the name of Jesus. Don't forget, send your prayer request to us, send your questions to me at pastortolualabi@gmail.com. Or better still, the ministry info is there. That will be info@tolualabi is scrolling right there. Yeah, info@tolualabi. Please send your questions and we'll be glad to answer your questions. So for now, bye for now. See you later. See you next week, Monday. Keep enjoying yourself. This September is going to be an amazing month for you. You experience the miracles of God, the blessings of God, divine interventions in the areas that you need it. In Jesus' name. Bye for now.